Hey, what's up everyone? JJ here and welcome back to another Throwback Thursday video. In this video, we're going to take a look at a retired LEGO theme, and that is LEGO Vidiyo. I have the pleasure of actually having every LEGO Vidiyo set and minifigure in my LEGO collection. Unfortunately, it wasn't because I necessarily loved this theme. Rather, it was when I was first getting into LEGO, these were so heavily discounted, and I think they do have really good minifigures that it was an easy in for me to kind of start collecting these sets. Now, if you didn't know, LEGO Vidiyo kind of was an app where you build the set, you take out your phone, in the app, you kind of interact with the LEGO set and some music video creating technology. I didn't find it particularly interesting, and I don't necessarily love the theme overall, but I do think it has some really awesome and strong minifigures, and I do think it has some interesting and unique builds, kind of multiple sub-themes here within the theme of LEGO Vidiyo. So in this video, we will look at, there were two blind box series of minifigures. One was not heavily released in the US, but we will look at both Series 1 and Series 2. Then you also have kind of these 5 stages, and these are designed for you to kind of pull your minifigures to have a stage for whatever genre of music they are, performing. And then they also had about 8 of these kind of beat boxes. Let me grab one. This is kind of the lamest part of the build. These were like 20 bucks, but we will look at that as well. And we will start off this video looking at the Bandmates LEGO Vidiyo Series 1 and 2 of the blind boxes. There on the left, you see Bandmates Series 1, and then here on the right, you see Series 2. The first series had a very wide release, while the second series did not. I actually had to buy these on eBay. I never got a chance to see them in person. Each of the blind boxes, of course, came with the minifigure, as well as 3 of those beat bits, kind of those, color coordinated little records that each character had. This was for the app. It kind of allowed your character to do new and cool things. And like I said, those will be exclusive to each of the characters. And then they'll also come with 2 additional ones just from the larger pool of those. And here you can see what I mean, where there on the left where it says 1, we see the ice cream saxophonist has his exclusive beat bit, and there's just 2 additional ones. They also came with kind of these pieces to build, a little mini stage or stand for your bandmate as well. And the instructions here also kind of show you how to download the app and remind you or let you know that each of these beat bits kind of has a special effect on your character kind of in the app as you're creating your music videos. And one thing I really liked for the Bandmates minifigures is that, they're obviously very unique, colorful, characters. But what was cool is all the different sets from the LEGO Vidiyo, both Wave 1 and Wave 2, kind of had different types of characters that could be matched together. So essentially you could take these Bandmates and put them with some of the minifigures that came with the other sets to create a band, right? Like these kind of follow similar themes. And we'll see that when we look at all the minifigures at the end. The first 2 bandmates we will look at are the Shark Singer and the Banshee Singer. Each of these really great minifigures. They're the 2 singers of the group. Looking first here at the Shark figure, there is really awesome printing both on the legs and torso. In general, the detailing for these figures was really intense and turned out quite well. We also see this kind of new molded piece here for the shark head with lots of printing. You can see there kind of with these slashes. Also, this pink is connected, so I like the dual molding of the different colors there as well as the paint. And then we see kind of the tail kind of comes along the back and looks quite nice. Somewhat similar to kind of Victor Crumb on the underwater task for the Goblet of Fire LEGO Harry Potter, but also a little bit different. And his accessory is going to be, of course, a microphone. This minifigure has some pretty great back torso printing, although it's covered up usually. And I want to point out that this shark head is kind of its own piece that goes on to the torso. It is not going on top of a traditional minifigure head. It's kind of its own piece, so it's not used in combination with the minifigure head. And the other singer from the group is the Banshee Singer. She, of course, uses the Bellatrix Lestrange hairpiece, which I think works quite well for this figure. Again, awesome printing there on the torso. We don't see any printing on her ghostly apparition legs. However, there is cool kind of dual molding. You can see kind of with the 2 greens kind of coming together, which is nice. And there is some pretty decent back torso printing as well. And she also has kind of that shoulder pads, which is nice. Overall, a really cool figure, a pretty funny face, and I like kind of the green. It reminds me a lot of the ghost from LEGO Hidden Side. And so I actually have doubles of this character, and I turn those into additional Hidden Side ghosts. Now, this bandmate wave also gives us 3 dancers. We have the genie dancer, the red panda dancer, and the bunny dancer. I don't know, I thought it was pretty funny. That's how they were labeled, but each of these is a pretty cool minifigure. Looking first here at the Genie Dancer, they have a really nice pink or fuchsia color for her hairpiece. This is from the original CMF series for the cheerleader. So it's been reused quite often, and it's nice to get it kind of in this pink color. She does come with a tambourine, which is a really cool printed piece. And as you can see, the printing or detailing there on both the torso as well as that genie piece in purple is really nice. Let me see if you can kind of see some of the silver embellishments. She also has some back torso printing as well. All in all, interesting genie figure. We've gotten quite a few genies. This is the first time I've seen one with the purple kind of, I don't know if that's smoke or body or whatever you call that, but the detailing is really nice. Here we can see the red panda dancer and just some really cool details and embellishments there. Lots of printing there on the legs, which looks really good. This, again, is a full new molded piece. It does not go on top of a minifigure head. It's kind of its own piece. This figure will also have some cool back torso printing, and then as well as a little tail there, for this panda. And then the last of the dancers with this Bandmates Video Blind Box Series 1 is the bunny dancer. She comes, of course, with the Boombox in that green color. Really cool printing on the legs and torso. I actually really like the torso printing with all the embellishments there. And similarly to the red panda, this is a newly sculpted piece. Kind of funny there with like a little bit of the pink hair. And then we also see some back torso printing as well. What is cool is they have all different types of genres of music represented within the Bandmates. So obviously the bunny, I think, is supposed to represent hip-hop, you know, because she's a rabbit or a bunny. The panda, I think he might be a break dancer. It's really hard for me to tell if, based on some of the kind of additional embellishments there on the legs, if that's what he's supposed to be or if it's something else. And then the genie, I think, is just kind of like a, you know, with the tambourine, kind of when you think of like that flowy 1960s hippie type of movement and dance. Next, we have the Disco Cowboy. Really fun face print there, and I like kind of the blue hair coming down. You know, before LEGO had a ton of hair pieces, oftentimes they would just have print the hair on the minifigure, especially with some of the early girl minifigures. Really cool detailing here on the front torso, and I always like, you know, the use of the different colored arms from the torso, and then pretty good detailing there on the legs as well. We do see some back torso printing here, which is good. And this figure, of course, comes with just the microphone with gold, which is different than the two singers. It's the Disco Cowboy. Next, we have the ice cream saxophonist. The saxophone, just a pretty standard piece in that pearl gold. We've seen that before, but man, what a cool figure. His legs are kind of like the waffle cone you can see there with the pattern. And then I guess his body is supposed to be all the sauces kind of dripping down. And then, of course, his head is the ice cream scoop on top. Really neat. If you notice, he has a pink and a blue hand. I don't know if that's supposed to be sprinkles or some other topping, but I love the torso printing there with the suspenders. And I think that face print is really cool here on this piece. And of course, we also see some back torso printing and some additional kind of embellishments there with the melting effect for this ice cream guy. So again, he's not someone dressed as an ice cream cone. He, I think, just is an ice cream cone. And similar to the shark, I wanted to point out, this is like many of them, this is just a singular piece. Again, it's not going on top of a minifigure head. Here we see the werewolf drummer, and of course his drumsticks are the bones. Not a super original figure in the sense that we've gotten lots of werewolves before, but they do a pretty good job with the leg printing there. He's wearing shorts, so you're actually able to see kind of his paws underneath, and a lot of cool detailing on his jacket there on the front torso. And if you look at kind of the printing here on the face, there is some embellishments or detailing we haven't seen before, which is quite nice. He also has a tail, like we've seen with a few of the other characters, and there is back torso printing. And just because I really like that back torso printing, I wanted to kind of show it here with the head not blocking most of it. Next, we have the cotton candy cheerleader. You know, I guess she can just cheer in front of a stage for any band that is playing. I really like the reuse of the Harley Quinn hairpiece. You know, here we see it kind of in that bubblegum pink and that cotton candy blue, which works really well. I think there's great detailing you can see on both the torso and legs, the sprinkles, and if you look on the legs, you can see kind of the different socks. And I like how, again, her feet, similar to the ice cream guy, it looks very fun. She has a cool face print and then awesome back torso printing as well. You can see kind of the dual molding of the white and the blue there. But really cool face print. Definitely a character I liked because I like unique hair pieces in this. You know, I don't know if we'd see this in this color scheme again, although we've seen it with quite a few color schemes already. Next, we have the Samurai Wrapper. I think it's Samurai Wrapper is what it's called, like officially with the bandmates. Cool detailing here on the legs. I do like kind of the use of the shoes there as well as the belt. And then a nice torso printing as well. He does come with kind of this samurai hat. And there is great detailing here on the back of the torso. Here we see the Cheetah DJ. Similarly, like I said, with most of these figures, just really awesome leg printing and torso printing. I really like all the different colors and prints there on his face. You know, when you think of a cheetah spots, you don't often think blue. So I think it really fits the theme well for LEGO Vidiyo, and I like kind of the VIP pass around his neck there. And then here on the back, again, we can see this tail, which we saw with the red panda as well as the werewolf drummer, and just a really cool hair combo with that headpiece. And last up is the Alien Guitarist. This is actually my favorite minifigure from this series and was the first one I was able to find in the blind boxes. If you've ever played the video game Toe Jam and Earl, that's kind of the vibes this guy gave me, and I really like that. I love the piece here for his little guitar or keytar. Here you can see some pretty good printing here on his torso as well as legs, and I really like kind of that hair antenna combo that we see. And of course, we see some back torso printing for this alien guy as well. Now, I'll just quickly kind of rank these kind of in categories from worst to first. These are my lowest tier, or the bottom 4 of the 12 bandmates that I just don't love. The werewolf kind of was pretty basic. The bunny, just I don't really have a use for some of these things outside of LEGO Vidiyo. You know, like in my LEGO City, for instance. I did like the samurai. I just wish he had a little bit more detailing to make him stand out. I am a bit nervous. The rumor for January 2026 is the LEGO Minifigures series is going to be animals, and you know, if you notice, 3 of the 4 on the bottom here are animals, so I'm curious to see if I like or how many of those I don't like from that upcoming minifigure series. These 4 figures kind of fall in the middle of the pack for my rankings. Obviously, the cheetah is an animal, but I think he has quite a bit more detail than the others, kind of brings him a little bit higher up. The genie and the cotton candy cheerleader, very unique takes on, you know, characters we've seen before. I don't have a ton of use for these in my LEGO City, but I can appreciate the detailing. And I actually do like the disco cowboy. He's probably my top of these 4 here, mostly because I just really like that face print. And here we can see my top 4 figures from LEGO Vidiyo Bandmates Series 1. My favorite, like I said, was the alien, just a really fun, quirky figure. I also really like the Banshee just because I kind of like spooky or haunted things, and I had lots of uses for that around a haunted house, the Sanderson's cottage, my entire town of Newberry, for instance. The shark, I recognize he's also an animal, but I don't know, it feels different to me and I like him quite a bit. I think I really like that torso printing, that really helps him out. And then that ice cream guy, just what a weird, bizarre, Candyland-esque figure. Maybe I'll put in my Charlie's Chocolate or Willy Wonka's Chocolate Factory when that set comes out. So here we see LEGO Vidiyo Bandmates Series 2. These were not widely available in the US. Essentially, Vidiyo kind of started getting canceled around this time, and some of these were already in production. I know these were much more common, I think, in Europe and Australia, for instance. But a lot of retailers kind of just stopped accepting shipments of Vidiyo because they just weren't selling well. I mean, that is essentially how and why I was able to buy this whole series or this whole theme of sets, was because they were just so discounted. I was like, I like the minifigures enough to spend, you know, $2 on this random set. So we're going to take a look now at these figures. And as we look at these figures, you will notice some of them seem to kind of go with or be partnered with the LEGO Vidiyo Bandmates Series 1. And again, that's a theme we'll see where a lot of these characters can kind of work together with other figures from the whole theme together to kind of create a band. Wave 2 of the Vidiyo Bandmates, we see the Karaoke Mermaid, we see the Slime Singer, and the Puppy Singer. So again, we're going to notice some similar trends with types of, you know, musicians or characters we have included in these blind boxes. First up, of course, is the Mermaid Karaoke Singer. I really like the embellishments and the kind of printing there on both the torso and that updated mermaid leg, or I guess fins, they're not legs. She does come with a pink microphone and this kind of really cool teal hairpiece, as you can see, with some streaks there in the front. And then we can see in the back, she has something holding her hair together. This character is definitely, I think, Asian inspired. As you can see, I think these are supposed to be chopsticks. So again, I think they're really trying to kind of represent different types of music and art forms with some of these characters, which I think is a really neat thing for them to do. And probably not representative to any culture is the slime singer. This guy's pretty fun. I really like his the expression there on his slime or face, whatever you want to call it. And I don't know if I'm trying to move the camera a bunch because I want to make sure the light is catching all the different silver dots and embellishments there on this torso. He really does kind of appear to almost shimmer, which is quite neat. I'm gonna take him off here so that you can see one of his legs is somewhat translucent, which is quite cool. And then you can see he has lots of cool torso printing there on the back as well. Really strange, but interesting character to include. Here we see the puppy singer. And again, I don't always love animals, but I do think they did a better job with Vidiyo Bandmates Series 2, kind of adding some detailing to make him kind of fun and unique. So of course with him, I like the kind of stars around his eye. And again, he has really great printing on the legs as well as the torso. I really like his tie clip there as a little bone. Similarly to many other characters, of course, he comes with a tail, and there's good back torso printing there for him also. We also see the inclusion of some dancers, and here we have 3 dancers: the zombie dancer, the carnival dancer, and the alien dancer, who I thought was a drummer, but those might be glow sticks. So maybe that is why she's labeled as a dancer. There's something super special here about the zombie dancer. I do like the new take on a zombie minifigure. You know, some really cool torso printing as well as leg printing there. And I like his little accessory of the kind of tape. Looking on the back, again, we see some of that really detailed printing. That's one thing Vidiyo did a great job with, his printing. I mean, even with all those beat bits, for instance, none of those were stickers. Next, we have the carnival dancer. Really like the headpiece there. That was reused from the, what is it? Peacock dancer, maybe from that LEGO CMF series. Really like the orange shoulder pads and lots of great detailing there on this colorful vest, as well as kind of the leg printing. I also like when minifigures have arm printing. Here you can see he has 2 little bracelets or bands, and then a really awesome back torso printing there on this tank top or vest, I guess, with the pink flamingo, which I think works really well. I'm not super familiar with this guy or what he represents, but you know, it looks like he's down for a party, and I'm always excited for a good time. And last, we have the alien dancer slash drummer. I am guessing she is holding glow sticks now that I think more about it, given the color. But really cool minifigure. Love the face print. You know, the alien from Series 1 had 1 eye. She has 3. Seems appropriate to me. Love the recoloring of the hairpiece here with the blue on blue. And lots of cool detailing both with the legs as well as the torso printing. And again, we see some back torso printing as well. And with this series, we see quite a few guitarists. We see the disco girl guitarist on the left, and the dragon guitarist on the right, and then the vampire bass player here in the middle. I, of course, want to point out that the disco cowgirl guitarist is wearing roller skates. I really like kind of the coloring on her face there with some of the eyeshadow and silvers that pop out, and I like kind of this hair and hat combo. We have seen quite a few cowgirl hair and hat combos, but this one I like kind of the way the blonde hair comes to the side. Lots of cool detailing with, golds and silvers to really catch the light. And then she also does have some back torso printing, which here you can see kind of has a fun little cactus emblem there. Man, I really love this dragon guitarist in my collection. In fact, ever since the Dungeons & Dragons sets came out, I was very thankful that I had these, as both him and then the red dragon we'll look at have been much pricier on the secondary market because I think people want to add them to their Dungeons & Dragons series. But similar to the genie, he has really cool printing here that we haven't seen when this mold's been used in the past, which looks great. I love kind of a translucent wings. He does have some back torso printing we'll take a look at in just a moment, as well as some front torso and leg printing. So here on the front gives you a better idea what his torso printing looks like. Reminds me of like a Dumbledore outfit for sure. And the details and embellishments really carry on here to the back. I also want to point out, as I put his wings back on, I hadn't realized this, there are actually multicolored. You can kind of see it from this angle, actually kind of the lighter blue in the middle and then that more green color on the edge. You can kind of see some of the different colors kind of in these wings. This Vidiyo blind box series also came with 3 DJs. DJ Captain, the pirate there on the left, DJ BeatBox, and then DJ Raspberry, raspberry, like B-E-A-R for bear. DJ Captain, I do like the use, of course, there of the hook, and a lot of really cool detailing on the legs with the silver. I really like kind of that little anchor, belt buckle embellishment. And then some cool detailing here on the torso. Like always, I like the alternate color from the torso to the arms. That always adds a lot. And then here we can see the back of the hairpiece in that bright pink and the back torso printing. All right, make no mistake. I think DJ BeatBox is weird and bizarre. I don't quite get it, but I love kind of this headpiece. You kind of see there how it's clear almost in the front. It is really neat. These kind of look like the BeatBoxes that a lot of the other minifigures came from LEGO Vidiyo. I think had a few waves of those. Rather standard printing here on the torso and legs. It is a pearl gold figure, so that does kind of add some uniqueness to it, as I don't have a ton of pearl gold leg and torso printings in my collection. All right, and then DJ Raspberry has, a really cool, fun face print. You can kind of see the smirk there and the heart glasses. If you notice, both the legs as well as the head are translucent. I'm not sure if this is supposed to be like a gummy bear. It looks like there might be a gummy worm coming out of DJ Raspberry's jacket. But on the back here, you can see the raspberries, which look really good. So I think this is supposed to be a gummy bear, which kind of fits the theme well. Cool figure. I kind of like the use of the translucent, similar to the Slime Singer. Unique. We have seen another bear before, which we'll compare this to at the end. But all in all, I'm fairly happy with this minifigure. Similar to the first wave, I'm now going to have my ranking bottom third, middle third, and top tier. These are my least favorite from this series. I do appreciate the bright colors, the new printings and designs. I just don't love them. None of these characters really stand out to me. I mean, the pirate, maybe I would use that in like a pirate set. The zombie is usually kind of my thing, but with that bright green, nothing really stands out here. So these are my least favorite of the Series 2 minifigures. Now, these characters kind of fall all over the place with who they are, but I think I really like them for various reasons. I mean, that BeatBox is just really funny. The gummy bear, it's kind of bizarre, but it's unique enough in a well, it is weird, but in a less weird way than some of the others I didn't like as much from this set. Like I said, the animals don't always do it for me, but I think they improved upon a lot with the pup there, so I was happy to see that. And of course, the alien from Series 1 being my favorite, I think definitely helped out this dancer a bit, but overall, I really like the blue color choice they chose for her hair antenna combo. And these are my top 4 favorites from LEGO Vidiyo Bandmates Series 2. I love the dragon in the blue. I love the translucent wings, that light blue color, and kind of the purple robes that he's wearing. The vampire bass player, I really like. That's one of my favorite hair pieces in this color. That translates from that's not the word I'm looking for. The gradient from the black to the red in her hair, I think looks really nice. Plus, I love the way the bass guitar is kind of shaped like an axe. The Slime Singer, just kind of a really unique guy. Really makes me think of the Ghostbusters, which is quite fun. And I can also put this in like the LEGO Hidden Side City of Newberry. And then kind of a weird guy, the carnival guy, but really cool prints, really fun detailing. Like you can see there on the hat, there's some additional printing. Like I said, his bracelet. So there's just a lot of extra detailing on this figure that made him stand out to me. Next, we're gonna look at the 8 minifigures that came with the LEGO Vidiyo BeatBoxes. They were essentially these were $20, by the way. Let's preface with that. And it came with the minifigure, this weird thing, and about 20 of those beat bits, and that's it. That's all that it came with. I got these, I think, for about $3 or $4 each, and I was happy with that because, again, I would be willing to pay that for this minifigure, right? If a CMF series is about $5, that's kind of why I was able to buy all of these. And it did help me as I kind of tried to complete my collection of these beat bit tiles. I'm still missing, I think, about 6, which, there's like over 100, so it's really not that bad. All in all, you can still get these for less than retail, new in box online, because no one bought these. They were way overpriced. $20 for minifigure, and the gimmick of like the video and the beat big tiles just didn't really work. But there are some fun figures, and so that's what we're gonna take a look at, very similar to the kind of blind boxes. These came in 2 waves. 6 of the characters were released, and then the 2 in the middle, the red dragon metal guitarist and the folk fairy, they came out a little bit later. So it was released as 6 and then 2 additional ones. Now, I'm not going to bore you completely by looking at all the components of each of these BeatBoxes, but we will talk about them. Essentially, each one kind of stored inside this clear part. Comes with a little mini stage, and that is where you can display your minifigure. And then each of these comes with, I believe, 20 of those tile pieces, and you can display those kind of here on the side of the minifigure. As they are, you're using the app and they're able to dance or sing on this app with some of the features of those various tiles. Obviously, like I said, you kind of close this up, and that's how you close the BeatBox. Each one is going to have a design here on the side that kind of fits the character, and then you close it up here. I will say this is kind of a cool piece. I haven't really figured out a use for it. You know, again, you can see the area here to kind of house each of those tiles. So I haven't found a use for this piece, but you know, most of the colors aren't really that great for like castle. I guess 2 of them are white, so that's nice. And then each one, of course, comes with a kind of a cover that you attach to it that represents the character. And so let me see the focus there. This, of course, is the metal guitarist, but here you can see kind of all of them. There on the top, I think that's the HipHop robot. Then of course the red dragon. This middle one is going to be for the alien robot. Of course, you see the party llama. I believe that one is the folk fairy. This one I think is the candy mermaid, which would make this one here the unicorn DJ, and then the was it the punk pirate? Is he a DJ? No, he has a little guitar in the shape of a anchor. So that was kind of the most fun part of the build. But again, as you can imagine, for 20 bucks, getting that, a bunch of these tiles, which are cool, but you know, if you're not using the app, which I'd imagine many fans of Lego are more into like the, you know, kinesthetic component of building a set, the app might not be super appealing to them. And to close it up, you do connect these 2 pieces, kind of close up the little guy's stage. And then I obviously am keeping the minifigure out of this, but you could put him in here and he can kind of perform inside this box. And here we can see the metal guitarist next to the punk pirate. And again, we can just see kind of how the different colors that were selected kind of fit the theming for that character, as well as a little bit of the designs. And similarly, here is the Candy Mermaid, as well as the Party Llama. And again, I didn't point out before is the colors of this kind of stage inside. It's going to also be different based on the color scheme of the character. So it's a mixture of kind of the base here, this little handle, the design on the actual sides, and it's on both sides, as well as the color of the kind of stage that you can take out is based on the character's theming. And the reason I've taken all 8 of those and put them kind of on this base plate is I think this is kind of a cooler backdrop for some of these minifigures. And I don't actually use these actual, you know, boxes to display the characters with. What I do is I use these boxes as risers to put different sets on a shelf, so you have some dimension, which is definitely not the intended use, but it kind of works for me. And here we can see the unicorn DJ and the folk fairy. Again, just like all the others, we're gonna see, you know, different designs and color for those characters. And then we see the hip-hop robot and the alien DJ. I do think the hip-hop robot has kind of a cool one, but I don't like his color scheme overall. In fact, kind of the hip-hop robots are not my favorite color scheme, but I do like the aliens, kind of translucent blue there on the side. Let me know what you think of these beatboxes. How much do I think these really should have been for the theme not to fail miserably? Honestly, probably like 10 bucks, which they're probably not turning out much of a profit at that price point. You know, a minifigure, if I like the figure for $5, I think this thing, even including kind of the, you know, this part of the build, plus the 20 beat bits, the tiles, I still think even 15 would be too much, right? Like, I think they should have gone with 10, even if that meant including less of these with each individual character. I think $10 would have been a better price point for these figures. They're not blind box minifigures like the others. You have some additional builds, but 20 bucks was just way too steep. And it really is a shame because I do feel like each of these minifigures is pretty great, and it sucks that they were kind of behind this $20 paywall, which if you're collecting all of these, I mean, that's over 100 bucks, you know, that's almost $200, which is not worth it for 8 minifigures. All right, first up, we have the Candy Mermaid. I really like the printing there on the guitar. I think there's really great detail printing here on the torso, as well as the kind of waffle cone tail. And I love her hairpiece, kind of with the different highlights of pink there that really stand out. And her hair is a very light blue. It's not white, it is a very, very light blue. And that's common in her color scheme as well. That detailing continues here on the back of the torso. I wish there was waffle cone printing there on the back of the tail as well, but overall this is a strong figure. I think they did a good job with this new mermaid tail. We see it a few times for mermaids and mermen in the kind of LEGO video sets. Here we see the unicorn DJ, probably the character I'm least excited about for these BeatBox minifigures, only because I mean, the unicorn doesn't do anything for me. I don't love animals necessarily, although I will say there is really cool detailing here on her arm. And then we also see really cool printing, kind of dual molding there on the legs. I like the use of the tailpiece, and as you can see, this headpiece is one piece. So the unicorn face and mane and unicorn horn are all part of a single piece. All in all, it made sense to introduce a unicorn, the types of characters that were coming out with LEGO Vidiyo. So I think this works. Probably my least favorite, but it's fine. Next, we have the Party Llama, and for me, he really served as kind of the mascot for this theme. He's the character I feel like I saw the most on advertisements, on commercials, and the commercial for the the little app, for instance. Pretty neat character. He does have, this is a newly sculpted piece, and the sunglasses, or the shades, are part of the sculpt, so you can't take those off. Again, great printing here on the arms, which is nice. Cool torso and leg printing. I like the knee pads there and the little whistle. All in all, I really like the detailing there on his tank top. Party Llama is one of my favorite characters of this theme, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that I kind of associate him as one of the kind of mascots. And next we see the HipHop robot. I really like kind of the inclusion of like these arms for additional, holding additional microphones. And then I do also like his hair kind of there as little cables. This does remind me of the X-Men character, whose of course name I'm blanking on, kind of with the way his hair looks and kind of the gold color scheme as well. I like the printing there on the torso. And again, we're seeing just really cool arm printing, which is nice. And there's also some connection points here on the back of the kind of combination hair, eyes, or glasses. And since it's a robot, they didn't really need to, but they did include a face print, which I'm really happy about. Next, we have the alien DJ, who's giving Sonic the Hedgehog vibes, kind of with his spiky hair there. I do like, you can kind of see it is a little bit translucent, not completely see-through like the sides of his beatbox, but there is some translucent there. It's kind of glittery, which is cool. Really interesting printing, especially there on the legs. I like all the different kind of the dual molding as well as the multiple colors, which look neat. And additionally, great printing there on the arm. Pretty basic, nothing too cool there on the back. But this, I do quite like this. And we'll see a few other characters similar to this guy. Next is the Punk Pirate. Really cool figure. I like the new sculpt there for the kind of mohawk that includes the bandana. We see really awesome printing there on the arms. He's going to have a hook hand on this side, and then we're going to see the peg leg on that side. And in general, this thing did a really good job kind of with new shapes of guitars, to fit the theme. In general, I think the kind of underwater pirate theme is one of my favorites, even though I didn't like the female pirate that came with the blind boxes. A lot of the other characters just really show up and have great detailing. And then kind of looking here at the back as well, I think that looks really awesome there with the kind of the print, of the pirate ship and, the seaweed coming around it, which is quite fun. And I really like the folk fairy also. She obviously is a violinist, and I think that's just a really cool inclusion of instrument. For me in music, I love when they have kind of more string instruments like this. You can't really see all the printing, so I'm going to try and show you there on her legs. Actually, I'm going to remove her violin in a second, so let's just talk about the figure. Cool face print, love the hairpiece, love the gold there. Let's see, with her wings, you can kind of notice there is printing there on the wings, which look really nice. All in all, just kind of a cool, unique character. Again, similar to the unicorn, not my favorite inclusion of a character, but I think the execution was really strong. And just because I think the leg printing was actually one of my favorite parts of this character, I wanted to make sure you could see that. I feel like the fairy from the CMF series, I think series 10 maybe, I don't like cloth pieces, and I feel like the cloth skirt really ruined what was otherwise an amazing figure. And last up is the metal guitarist. And of course, this is the red dragon. Really cool printing on his face, similar to the blue dragon that we saw. Not translucent, but I like how different the red dragon is from the earlier blue one. I like kind of the, they're trying to make him metal, so I like all the silver embellishments there. And similarly, we see a lot of really cool arm printing. His legs aren't as strong as some of the other ones, but still some pretty good detailing. And then on the back, we'll take his wings off and take a look. And here you can see kind of the emblem printing there on the back, which I think looks really great. Again, $20 was too much, but these figures are all awesome, so it's really unfortunate people weren't really into the theme. Now, LEGO Vidiyo also had 5 additional sets. And these sets were kind of designed to be stages for some of your characters. And what you'll notice is from those beat boxes, as well as the kind of the blind boxes, those characters kind of fit into some of these themes so they could be displayed, on these stages. And first up, we have set 43111. This is the Candy Castle stage. It has 344 pieces. It retailed for $29.99 in the US. And the two figures, of course, for the ballerina and the blue bear. I don't know if he's a blue berry, similar to the raspberry from the Minifigures Series 2 of video. Obviously, this shows us the front of the stage, but what's really cool is each of the stages from the sets we're going to look at, you can kind of change the theming a little bit by just kind of rotating. So that first one was kind of, I think, chocolate, because it's supposed to be like a candy stage. And now we see kind of more colors to represent kind of candy, which is a little bit of a fun thing. Again, this wasn't really a set that I was huge into, but it was a nice thing to be able to change these stages. And the back of this Candy Castle stage, we did see kind of a dressing room with some sweets, and it was really fun. I like this kind of chocolate fountain effect that you have. I'm really excited to see what that looks like in the new LEGO Ideas Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory set. I'd imagine we're gonna get something very similar to that. Looking at the minifigures, my favorite of the two is the blueberry, similar to the kind of ice cream mermaid that we saw. He has a lot of cool printing there on the guitar. I do like the translucent legs that we also saw with the raspberry, and I also think he has cool detailing here on his torso. No arm printing. We're not going to see much of that outside of some of those beatbox characters and that detail, but he also has really cool back printing there with the blueberries, which makes me think this is the counterpart to Mr. Raspberry. And of course, we also have the Candy Ballerina, really fun face print. I like the torso printing, the use of the ballet skirt. There is some cool leg printing here, especially with the heart and the shoes. I like the hair printing, but it is not as good as the Ice Cream Mermaid because there isn't kind of the highlights of another color. But I like that this is pink and the other was blue. And again, there we see some back torso printing as well. So overall, a fun little set. And next we see set 43112, Robo HipHop's car. This has 387 pieces, retailing for $29.99 in the US, just like the Candy Castle stage. And this is a car, but you also, of course, have the components that can serve, as a stage for the different robot characters to perform. One thing I do like about this build is it actually does function as a car, so you can definitely customize this and make it look better. Sorry, that was rude. And make it look less like a stage, if that's what you're going for. And I love the kind of face here that comes out. I think that's quite funny. And when looking at this stage, very similar to the Candy Castle, there are lots of things that you can change about it just to kind of change the aesthetic of the concert that you're going to. Nothing too groundbreaking here. Whoops, spin that, yep. But it is kind of cool to be able to change, what it looks like as your characters are giving their concerts, which is fun. And at the back of this car, it looks like there is a hot tub with some snacks and a video playing of some dancers. Again, the minifigures are great. I love getting this hair and kind of glasses combo recolored here with white instead of black. We can also see kind of the use of that connection point here on the back. We also see the hood from LEGO Hidden Side and some cool printing here on the guitar. I don't like the other minifigure nearly as much, but I will point out there is some great torso printing. I do like the silver there on the black for the robot's head. Really cool choice of hairpiece here in that kind of pearl gold, which looks nice. And there is some pretty neat back torso printing. So similarly, pretty solid minifigures. And the next stage we have is set 43113. This is the K-Pawp Concert. Pop spelled P-A-W-P, so like paw. So of course we see the cat there as well as the unicorn. This has 514 pieces, retailed for $49.99 in the US. So it was $20 more than the HipHop car and the Candy Castle stage. And of course this one has 3 minifigures. All in all, this one is a much bigger stage. As you can see, the 3 minifigures there. There is additional space for 4 more minifigures on the stage. Which is cool. And like I said, these sets were neat because there's lots of ways to kind of change the aesthetics. So here we kind of see, I guess, a cat or a rabbit. I think it's a cat. And then you can switch it to the unicorn. You can also switch kind of the coloring here of the speakers. And then you also have these, little things on the side. So there's definitely some changes you can make to the stage. And I'd imagine too, if you were actually, you know, a kid building these, or even, you know, a collector, you could really customize these stage options quite a bit with color techniques to really make it pop and stand out. But my favorite part of this set, like I said, is the display ability to have up to 7 characters that kind of fit this theme. And just looking at these characters, of course, we know there's another unicorn, there's another fairy, there's quite a few animals that kind of fit in with the cat, especially the dog. From the second blind box for LEGO Vidiyo. So a pretty fun set, nothing too crazy. You'll notice behind the unicorn here, we do see kind of one of these emblems, very similar to what we saw for each of the characters with the beat boxes. And those are really impactful when you were utilizing the app to spark, I don't really know. I did use the app, but it was not really my thing, so I didn't interact with it too much. And similar to the mermaids, I'm sorry, not the mermaids, similar to the Candy Castle stage, here on the back, we see not really a dressing room, but similarly, it looks like a DDR, Dance Dance Revolution stage. I think that's what it's supposed to represent, with the flashing lights there in the 4 colors, and then kind of the dancers there. So all in all, a fun set. Like I said, I think this one has a little bit better display ability than the other two, but it is also $20 more, so that makes sense. And you could easily fit 4 more minifigures. I'm sure you could fit more than that as well. And taking a look at the minifigures, first, of course, we have this purple fairy. There is really cool printing on both the legs as well as the torso, and similar to the folk fairy, we do see printing there on the wings, which do look quite nice. I also like this hairpiece in this pink color. I actually don't have that in my collection otherwise. Next, we see the purple unicorn. And it's fine. I don't know. I guess I wouldn't have thought I needed a LEGO unicorn in my minifigure collection. I like the use of the translucent wings, and there is cool detailing there for her as well. And then last is this cat. It's a cat. It is. I feel confident, right? Yes. Again, I like the use of the hair. We saw something similar with some of the other characters. I think it fits kind of like a rock concert vibe, kind of the way it waves, which is neat. There's a tail, which I do like the use of the tail piece. We see one with the unicorn too, actually. A different one, but you know, more the horse style. But all in all, some of these animals just look kind of strange to me, but it's fine. The detailing's good. For what they're going for, this makes a lot of sense for like a cat, you know, glamour star type of character. And the next set is definitely my favorite of these 5 stages, and this is set 43114, the Punk Pirate Ship, with 614 pieces, retailing for $59.99 in the US. So this was $10 more than the K-Pawp Concert stage, and $30 more than both the Candy Castle and the Robo HipHop. And as you can see, they did a really good job making this stage into a pirate ship, which is ultimately why it stands out as my favorite. This set comes with 3 minifigures. Of course, we see the recoloring here of the shark guy in a black with yellow. We get our first instance of the squid, who's just a really cool sculpted piece there for the head. And then we have the kind of another mermaid violinist, which is neat. And similar to the other stages, there are some changes you can make to change the color scheme a little bit. You know, you can change these kind of from blue to yellow. Once again, you can change the speakers people are standing on, and we have another head option, and this is quite cool. It is essentially a skull there with a mohawk. This punk pirate ship gives us 6 obvious spaces for minifigures to stand, which makes it good for display. But if you notice here on the ship part, there's actually some additional areas where you can put more minifigures, which is one of the reasons I like this as well, is just the ability to display so many characters on this punk pirate ship stage. And I also like the back of the stage here with some like additional hangout areas. You can see there's a map, there's a pizza. So it's kind of fun. And this does kind of close out to kind of create the shape of the pirate ship, but of course it doesn't close out fully. And I think this is kind of like a walk the plank feature. So all in all, a really good set. Looking at the minifigures, the recoloring of the shark piece is incredible. He has great detailing there on the legs and torso. And you can see all the different detailing here on the headpiece as well, which is truly fantastic. And they don't even cut any corners, even though you can't really see the back torso printing. Once the headpiece is on, they had some really nice torso printing there. And I quite like kind of the anchor guitar for him as well. Next, we have this mer person, really good side arm printing. I like the detailing there on the fin. Cool recoloring of this hairpiece. We saw it in gold earlier, and really cool detailing there on the front torso. And then we're gonna see some here, whoops, on the back torso as well. A little bit of it is blocked by the hair, but all in all, another cool character. Definitely the most mermaids I have in my collection are from LEGO Vidiyo at this point. But the star of the show for me is certainly the squid drummer. Really kind of just amazingly unique sculpted headpiece. Is a little bit of a softer plastic here with the tentacles, but just really neat. We see some great back torso printing, and we see the leg printing, but all in all, this is just, for me, the highlight of this set and one of my favorite LEGO Vidiyo minifigures of all time, just because of how unique that kind of head sculpt is. And the last set of the LEGO Vidiyo theme is set 43115, the Boombox. As you can see, it closes up into a boombox. This has 996 pieces. It retailed for $99.99 in the US. And we see kind of the 5 characters, the female blue, I believe that's a cheetah. We see the green alien. We see the kind of male vampire, and then the male bunny. Very clearly, you can see how these connect to some of the other characters in the wave. We obviously already have a cheetah, we have a blue alien, we have the female vampire, we have the female rabbit. So it is really fun to kind of see how these characters connect so easily. Now, one of the coolest parts about this set is it is designed to pretty much be a boombox. So there we see it is fully enclosed, but it does, of course, open up. And it's going to form a stage, of course, because that is what, LEGO Vidiyo is all about, is a stage for these minifigures and the app to kind of record some of the sessions. And this looks really good, both closed up as a boombox and also opened up here. What is neat with this set is there's lots of areas for minifigures to be displayed. Of course, we see 5 areas, actual stages. You see the yellow, there you see kind of the green and the red, and then we see kind of the fuchsia, as well as the magenta there. Actually, they're both the same color. Why does the lighting make it look different? And then you also have some additional standing space all throughout, which is cool. I like how you include both the kind of the blue and the pink keyboards. My guess is that's for the some of the animals on the keyboard. But all in all, it looks really cool. And this one has a lot of color variation. So it has 4 options for each turn. Instead of just 2. And I think the idea here is that you really could bring in many of the different themes to this main stage. It doesn't just have to be like the punk pirate, although you could do that with one of the colors. So it gives you, it looks like for the robots, maybe the orange is for the orange could be the robots too. But so it is neat how you have 4 different options to really customize the stage with kind of the details and the embellishments. And similarly, we're gonna have 4 heads that kind of match the 4 characters that come with the set. This first one, of course, matching the cheetah. We can see that. The first head there in the back matches the cheetah, and we'll use this opportunity to also talk about the minifigure. The cheetah has a really cool printed guitar here. Taking that off, great leg printing. Lots of cool colors, no dual molding, but lots of cool colors there with the belt as well as the different colored arms and torso. The headpiece, very similar. I think it's the same actually to the cat that we saw with the K-Pop. And then again, we see a little bit of detailing here on the back, but what's really fun is we see some printing there on the tail. And next up, we see kind of the face there in the back for the green alien robot thing. Similar to the blue one, again, his head is going to be somewhat translucent with some glitter there. You can see it's a little bit darker than the elbow pads. There is some cool printing here on the torso, but it's pretty average at best. I don't love this character necessarily. It is interesting what they did with the head and hair and earmuff combo, but all in all, just not my favorite. I'm guessing this is the headpiece is supposed to go with the rabbit, only because the other ones, like this is obviously, I think, for the vampire. I mean, that looks just like the cheetah to me. That looks just like the robot, and so I don't quite see, I don't quite see the rabbit. Anyways, same hairprint with this character as we saw previously, except that they changed the coloring there of the hair. I like the detailing, again, on the guitar, which we've seen a few other times. whoops, fly him across the stage. If you can notice, once again, really cool leg and torso printing, but no arm printing, and then the back printing is pretty standard. The rabbit in general, I like it more than the female version that appeared with the LEGO Vidiyo Blind Box Series 1. For whatever reason, kind of his mischievous grin works a little bit more for me than hers did. But all in all, just kind of an okay figure. In fact, I think the figures that came with the Boombox were some of the most disappointing in the line, which is really unfortunate because this is like the main stage, the biggest set. And last up, I believe this is kind of like the male vampire. Really cool hairpiece choice for him. Love kind of the tongue out expression. I think that really works. I don't know how well the camera's catching it, but his face as well as his arms and hands are actually at that very, very light blue. They're not white, which is kind of unique to this character. And he does come with an axe guitar. Really like the printing there on the torso, especially kind of the vest with the necklace, and some good leg detailing as well. Turning into the back, again, we see the bat emblem, which is nice. So all in all, this is my favorite character from the main stage Boombox, but it's just unfortunate that in general, I thought the main stage had some of the weaker characters, but I guess you're really supposed to incorporate characters from some of the other sets into this main stage celebration. And now we're gonna look at each of the stages where I'm gonna kind of add the minifigures from the various parts of the LEGO Vidiyo theme and kind of see what stage I think they most belong on. And first up is the Candy Castle stage. Of course, this set came with the ballerina and the blueberry. From the DJ BeatBoxes, I am going to add the ice cream mermaid. And from the blind boxes, we're gonna add the raspberry, the cotton candy cheerleader, and the ice cream saxophonist. And this is how I display the Candy Castle. I have kind of the raspberry and blueberry there in the middle, the waffle cone mermaid and ice cream man on the sides, and then of course the ballerina in the center as a singer, with of course the two cotton candy cheerleaders on the sidelines. And next up is the Robo HipHop car. And for this stage, I display, of course, some of the different robots, some of those like alien DJ guys, and also the Samarapper. And here you can see this is kind of how I set up the characters, on this car display. And we see quite a few figures from the kind of blind boxes, as well as the beatbox to kind of fit the punk pirate ship. And this is really the first stage that can easily fit kind of all the minifigures that should be, in my opinion, kind of included in this stage, as you can see here. And there are quite a few characters who I think I will put with the kind of K-pop stage. Unfortunately, there's not room for all of them, and they're not going to make the main stage event, so let's see who we add. And these are the 7 that I most like to include with the display for the K-pop stage. However, on the shelf, I'll add the 3 additional characters you see kind of up in the front off the stage. And that sadly leaves a ton of minifigures left to kind of display here on the main stage, which if you remember, I can kind of change the kind of coloring and design. So let me show you the minifigures I display on the main stage. And for me, I definitely don't want to leave out the kind of haunted, ghostly type figures. So I added them along with the dragons and some of the aliens. I like the video theme. It's clear to me they kind of intended to add more stages. As you can see, we're not really, I know this main stage can change, but I'm really surprised we didn't get like a haunted house stage or something for the dragons or the aliens to kind of continue the line that they had. So this is kind of how I display it. And then the additional 6 characters, I'll kind of just throw around on my shelf somewhere that makes sense. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to stay updated with LEGO leaks, rumors, news, and reviews, hit the subscribe button down below. Let me know what you think of LEGO Vidiyo. What are some of the figures that you really liked? Did you pick up any of these sets or minifigures for your LEGO collection? And what theme should I look at in my next Throwback Thursday video? I'll see you all next time. Thank you.